Hey, welcome to our Miracle Mondays. We are on the theme of open-mindedness. We are talking about the 10th characteristic of God's teachers this month. Such a gift. My name is Reverend Lisa Windsor, and I'm so happy to welcome you to Modern Miracles Academy. We have these Monday night sessions, these Monday night classes, discussion groups because we want you in your mind to know that there is a safe space every week where you can come and rest in God. And it's just our free offering to you. So I will teach a class. And then the following Monday, the leadership group, many of which are here tonight, you want to raise your hands, um, they lead the discussion group the following Monday about this theme and topic. And it's just so beautiful. It's not recorded, but it is a place where you can come and go deep, have an experience, and just go into, yeah, I mean, I think a lot of the time, especially on my journey, it's always about going deeper. It's like I get to these plateaus and it's like I just want the experience of going deeper. So, yeah, just a warm, warm welcome. And I'm excited about talking. So, I'm excited about talking about open-mindedness tonight. I love open-mindedness. I love the theme of it. And I actually, what I've experienced in studying the 10 characteristics of God's teachers this year is that it's such a gift sometimes to just have like a really pointed theme and to see how Jesus and the Holy Spirit weave it through this curriculum, weave it through the teachings. So, interesting. And I know that there is a master plan going on here. Our class tonight is titled Activating an Open Mind with A Course in Miracles Workbook Lessons. Now, I can see the master plan here because I am in the midst of sharing about our new Activate program starting in January. So basically, Activate 365 Days of Miracles is all about us as a community journeying through an entire year of workbook lessons together. And there's all kinds of components to it, and I'm very, very excited about it. So what I'm noticing about tonight is that I want to journey with you through workbook lessons, and I want you to see the depth of wisdom, the richness that happens when we open up these conversations and start to look at what is contained within these incredible lessons. A lesson for every day of the entire year. Every day of the year, we are met with a fresh lesson to wash our minds into alignment, to wash our minds from the fear and the guilt of the ego. So, I'll share a little bit more about Activate, but I do feel like I just want to say to everyone, sign up. I kind of just want to say that. I know that's probably a little bit direct, but it's like $27 Canadian a month right now before the new year. And it's just going to be so power packed, full of value, and it's our community is so beautiful. Come, I love that you're here, and even just listening in, just getting a sense of the energy and the high vibration of our community. We are so devoted. We are so devoted to these teachings. But it's not just about the teachings. We are so devoted to living this practically. I'm all about the practical. Okay, I would never do this if it wasn't super practical that I could apply it every day through my life. Okay, so um, I just want to talk about open-mindedness from the perspective of the Manual for Teachers, where it talks about it. And it basically says that open-mindedness comes with lack of judgment. Okay, so what that means is that you cannot have an open mind and be in any kind of judgment at all. Now, that makes a lot of sense because we know that judgment is completely in alignment with the ego. The ego is really judgment itself. That's what it is. And in A Course in Miracles, it says the ego or the thought system of fear and the Holy Spirit, the thought system of love, they never meet. They never meet. So one of the things I'm teaching is the ego is associated with the closed mind, judgment, grievances, opinions, and the Holy Spirit is associated with the open mind. And in that space, we have no judgment. So that is the direction we're heading. What I love about the course is it says your mind is full of judgment. Like, when you go into spiritual circles and it's like, I don't judge. People go, I don't judge. We all judge. We all judge, and we judge nonstop when we are caught in the ego. And we have to just be real about that. We just have to be really honest about that. But the course says, yes, you judge, and you're judging all the time if you're not paying attention. And we are going to give you the means to relinquish that judgment. We are going to give you forgiveness. That's what they give us. They give us the process of true forgiveness to clear the mind of judgment so that we can abide in the open mind. Think about the open mind. The open mind is where our channel is open and we can hear the voice for God. This is what we all want to hear. We all want to hear this. So we come to the workbook of A Course in Miracles. Now, I've said this many times. I took to A Course in Miracles. I loved spirituality. I read all kinds of books. I couldn't hold the ideas. I would say, not to Jesus and the Holy Spirit at that time, they hadn't entered in as the symbols of my teachers, but to whoever I was praying to, I would say, I don't know how to make this stick. I love these ideas that I read in these beautiful books, and they don't stick. And so A Course in Miracles came along, and it had a workbook, and it didn't have a 7-lesson workbook or a 2-day workbook or anything. It had 365 days. I knew this was serious. I knew that was the way I was going to integrate it. It finally didn't say, you know what? Here's a quick fix. I was so thankful not to find the quick fix, because the quick fixes, they're beautiful in the moment. I mean, I'll take them. I'll take every little quick fix that I've gotten in experience. It's all part of the ladder home. But at the end of the day, I want the real deal. I want the true integration. I want to keep the ideas. I want them for myself. I want them for myself. So, we start on the workbook, and lesson 3, 3 days in, Jesus is already talking about open-mindedness. I love it. He's like, you want to learn about open-mindedness? Check the workbook. I've got all kinds of markers around it, all kinds of ways in which I am teaching you to open up your mind. He's going to teach us to open our mind. He's not just going to say, open your mind. He's going to say, this is how you do it. Thank you. I need some instructions around this. Okay, so lesson 3. He says this: the point of the exercises is to help you clear your mind of all past associations, to see things exactly as they appear to you now, and to realize how little you really understand about them. It is therefore essential that you keep a perfectly open mind, unhampered by judgment, in selecting the things to which the idea for the day is to be applied. So he's kind of starting really practically. In those first few lessons of the workbook, if you've done them, you know that you have to glance around the room and select certain objects to apply the idea to, right? We know that. We're looking around. He has to start and say, you can't be judging all the things. You can't have judgment on all the things around you if you're going to not select it with your, how do you say that? Like, you're not the one selecting it. You have to have an open mind, and then your eyes can rest upon the things because you're not holding judgment on them. So, if we go in and we say, I'm going to select the different things I'm looking at, Jesus says, okay, we've already lost you. We've lost you. The ego's running the exercise. Okay, so he's starting in lesson 3. He's saying, you have to come into this space, lift up your judgment of the things that you are looking at, be unhampered by that judgment so that you can see. Okay. The lessons have begun. We didn't even realize it. Listen, I've been studying this course for over 20 years. I didn't know he was teaching me about open-mindedness from lesson 3. I know now. I'm pretty appreciative of that, considering it is a characteristic of God's teachers. And he says it's actually the last to develop. That's why it's number 10. It's actually the last to come together. That is how inundated we are with judgment. We say, oh, I don't judge. Oh my gosh, I don't judge. Of course you judge. We all judge. That's what we need to look at. That's what we need to forgive. Okay, so moving right along. Here's another one. In this one, he says this is a step toward opening the mind in this lesson. So this is lesson 24. Ooh, this one's kind of a doozy. It says, I do not perceive my own best interests. Okay, we think we perceive our own best interests. We think we know what's best for us, right? So the kind of message around this one is he's kind of saying, if you think you know what's best for you, you can't learn. If you already think you know, how can you have an open mind to learn something else? Why would you even ask about it? You wouldn't even have an open mind to ask because you think you already know what's best. Okay, that's the closed mind. So he says, learning begins when you realize you don't know what is best. Okay, learning begins when we realize we could kind of blanket this one. We don't know what's best. Learning begins when we realize we don't understand. Learning begins when we realize we don't know the meaning, right? Learning begins on that side of things. It says here, if you realized that you do not perceive your own best interests, you could be taught what they are. If we realize that, if we didn't know our best interests, he says, I could teach you what is best for you. But in the presence of your conviction that you do know what they are, you cannot learn. And we're all in conviction, like, I know what's best. I know what's best. Not only do we know what's best for ourselves, we know what's best for everyone else in our lives, don't we? We think we know what's best for that person and that person and that person. We have conviction about this, if we're being honest. So he's saying, the mind is closed, you cannot learn. We don't realize that. Thank you for telling us, Jesus. Thank you. He says this, the idea for today is a step toward opening your mind so that learning can begin. Just a step towards opening the mind. I love the lessons in the course because he's like, can you try this on today? I know you probably don't believe it. I know it probably triggers you, but would you use it? You know, by using it, you'll understand and you'll learn, you'll open your mind to the truth of it. It's like, okay. So here we are on this journey of opening the mind. Okay, moving on to lesson 28. Now he's trying to teach us to look with an open mind. He gives us the line. This one's powerful, and I think I really use this a lot. I love this. It says, above all else, I want to see things differently. I love that. I love all of the ones. It's like, above all else, I want to see things differently. I'm open to seeing this differently. I'm open to seeing this in a new way. He says here, when you say, above all else, I want to see this table differently. So he's using the example in this particular lesson of a table. Okay. Do we ever question what we think of a table? Again, he's kind of going to blow our minds here. He says, when you say, above all else, I want to see this table differently, you are making a commitment to withdraw your preconceived ideas about the table and open your mind to what it is and what it is for. You are not defining it in past terms. You are asking what it is rather than telling it what it is. You are not binding its meaning to your tiny experience of tables. Got this like tiny limited view of a table. Nor are you limiting its purpose to your little personal thoughts. We have literally put the table in a prison cell and think we know all about it. We have to free the table, right? We have to free the mind of all of this, all these constraints, all these limitations. He says this, you could in fact gain vision from just that table. You could gain spiritual vision from that table if you would withdraw all your own ideas from it and look upon it with a completely open mind. And look upon it with a completely open mind. It has something to show you, something beautiful and clean and of infinite value, full of happiness and hope. Hidden under all your ideas about it is its real purpose, the purpose it shares with all the universe. He's talking about a table. Anyone that can take a table and bring us to enlightenment is one you'll want to listen to along the way. And I love this because extracting this theme of open-mindedness, he's like, I've woven this theme through the course. It's there for you. And I thank him today for just bringing us to it because it's just beautiful. Okay, so moving right along, lesson 49. This is an exercise on sinking into the peace of our open mind. So everyone, the open mind is a direct route to God. It's direct access to God in the open mind, direct connection to him. We all have a direct line. Remember this woman at one of my groups years ago, she'd be like, I have a direct line to God. I have a direct line. Like she just like picks up the phone and he's on the phone, right? And I'm like, oh yeah, we have a direct line to God. Except we have all this judgment in the way, grievances in the way, blocks in the way that need to be cleared. Miracles are natural. Purification is necessary first to really hear that clear communication. So you might want to close your eyes if you want to, or just listen quietly to this one because he's taking us on a little experience. And he says, listen in deep silence. Be very still and open your mind. Go past all the ruckus, shrieks, and sick imaginings that cover your real thoughts and obscure your eternal link with God. Sink deep into the peace that waits for you beyond the frantic, riotous thoughts and sights and sounds of this insane world. You do not live here. We are trying to reach your real home. We are trying to reach the place where you are truly welcome. We are trying to reach God. We are trying to reach God. This is from the lesson. God's voice speaks to me all through the day. His voice speaks to you all through the day. Take a deep breath and see as we continue on in this flow, if you can remain with a more open mind. Just trying to allow and receive what lands with ease and grace in your mind. Don't try to process, just relax. Let's move on. Lesson 75. He talks about keeping a clear and open mind. He wants to show us the real world. He says, dwell not on the past today. Keep a completely open mind, washed of all past ideas and clean of every concept you have made. You have forgiven the world today. You can look upon it now as if you never saw it before. You do not know yet what it looks like. You merely wait to have it shown to you. And while you wait, you can repeat several times, slowly and in complete patience. The light has come. I have forgiven the world. That's from the lesson, The Light Has Come, right? And he's bringing us in the experience of opening our minds and letting him show us the real world. Going on to lesson 106. Let me be still and listen to the truth. This one I really love because he tells us, listen with an open mind. Often we look with an open mind, and now he's saying, listen with an open mind. He said, if you will lay aside the ego's voice, however loudly it may seem to call, if you will not accept its petty gifts that give you nothing that you really want, if you will listen with an open mind, then you will hear the mighty voice of truth, quiet in power, strong in stillness, and completely certain in its messages. He is directing us to be still, to listen with an open mind, that we may hear the mighty voice of truth. Yes, that is what we desire. That is what we desire. He keeps going. Lesson 110. This one I love. It's so sweet. He's like, I don't want you to just open your mind. He says, I want you to open your hands and your heart and your mind. Okay? He says, today we make a great advance to truth by letting idols go and opening our hands and hearts and minds to God today. Imagine just waking in the morning and just say, God, I am opening my hands and my heart and my mind to you today. I am here. How beautiful. So Jesus is just even saying, he's like, the open mind is a reflection of your hands wide open. He says that so much. Give me your hands, give me your feet, give me your voice to speak today, right? Open your mind, open your heart, open your hands to God today. Even if you just take that today, it's like, yes, like that's a beautiful directive, a simple prayer, a beautiful communication to God that we are here. He keeps going. Lesson 126. This one, I feel like he's kind of talking about miracles, which we love. He says, then spend a quiet moment opening your mind to his correction and his love. So he's asking us to spend a quiet moment opening our minds to the correction. Now, the correction is really the miracle, right? That's what happens when we move through forgiveness and we receive the miracle. And the miracle is love. So when he says opening your mind to the correction, opening your mind to the miracle, and opening your mind to God's love, and how do we get there? We spend a quiet moment, right? Opening our minds. Just spending a quiet moment. So often when we begin our calls, we do a prayer. It's always to open our minds. It's always we relax, we let go, we surrender to open our minds to his voice so that he can come into this space and guide and lead us. That's all we truly desire, to hear him and follow his lead and learn to have the courage to follow his lead. And he goes on to lesson 127. He says, there is no love but God's. And this is about resting in an open mind, learning about love with a clean and open mind. It's about receiving love. First, it says, open your mind and rest. It's beautiful. It's like we want to connect with God, and we have to, the channel by which we reach him is through restfulness, stillness, openness. It's so different. You know, the ego's way of doing anything is hard work. We got to do something. You know, we got to figure something out. We got to do something. This is not the case. It's like, please pause and enter into your beingness. You know, enter into the stillness, enter into presence. So one of the things he says in this lesson is open your mind and rest, full stop. And then he says, in loving gentleness, the Holy Spirit will abide with you as you allow his voice to teach love's meaning to your clean and open mind. And he will bless the lesson with his love. So when we have the willingness to open our mind and rest, we invite the Holy Spirit to abide with us and to bless us and to come into that clean and open mind and teach us of love. That's the direction. Lesson 128. This is about trusting the Holy Spirit and Jesus, about us opening our minds to them who are our teachers and our guides. It says, your guide is sure. Open your mind to him. Be still and rest. If you got up and you saw that lesson and you said, my guide is sure, I open my mind to him, I will be still right now and rest. Right? We just turn it into a practice. Right now. Isn't this abundant? I know, it's so abundant. We're just flowing along here. Lesson 133. Oh, anyone wondering how to reach heaven? Think that's the route, that's the direction. We got a ticket to heaven here. He says, heaven itself is reached with empty hands and open minds, which come with nothing, to find everything and claim it as their own. Oh my God, we have to come with nothing, no thing. What do we do in this world? We acquire. We need things. We're acquiring. We're building our riches, our materials, or all the things. Our ticket to heaven, we come with nothing. Empty hands, an open mind. That's what we come with to reach heaven. We come with nothing to claim everything. And if you're unfamiliar with what that means, the Course is talking about the gifts of God. That is what we gain on this journey. God's peace, his everlasting joy, his constant blessing and grace, his vision that shows us that we are all innocent, all of us, his blessings. That's the gift of God. Those are the gifts. Okay, here's a little exercise. I'm going to invite you, if you want to, you can rest your eyes closed for a moment. And we're just practicing opening up your mind and clearing it, and then focusing on a thought. So this is actually from an introduction of a review. So this is kind of very cool. He's asking us to learn this, and through a review period, there's review periods in the workbook. He's asking us to apply this exercise every day. So he says, begin each day with time devoted to the preparation of your mind to learn what each idea will review that day can offer you in freedom and in peace. So he's saying, like, prepare your mind for your lesson today to see what that lesson can offer you. Here's the directive. Open your mind and clear it of all thoughts that would deceive. And let this thought alone engage it fully and remove the rest. My mind holds only what I think with God. My mind holds only what I think with God. Again, we open the mind, clear it of all thoughts that would deceive, remove all the thoughts that would deceive, let them go, and let one thought engage the mind fully. Here is a right-minded thought. My mind holds only what I think with God. Thus, you prepare your mind for your lesson. Notice that when you're doing these little exercises, you're being directive in the mind. He says, open the mind. We pause for the experience of opening the mind. We open the mind by relaxing, letting go. He says, clear it of the thoughts that deceive. So we start watching the mind and letting go of any thoughts that are not of love, any thoughts of the ego, any thoughts of judgment. Just clear them away. Just pay them no attention. That is not where your attention and focus are being asked to go. And then he gives you a thought. He says, this is where I want you to put your attention. My mind holds only what I think with God. My mind holds only what I think with God. Nice deep breath. And we're going to keep going. In lesson 169, he says, you prepare for grace, God's grace with an open mind. He says, grace is not learned, yet we prepare for grace in that an open mind can hear the call to waken. An open mind can hear the call to waken. It is not shut tight against God's voice. It has become aware that there are things it does not know, and thus it is ready to accept a state completely different from experience from which it is familiar and at home. So the open mind, it can hear the call to waken. It is not shut tight against God's voice. That alone is very, very encouraging. Because if we really want to train our minds in alignment with love, and part of that training is to learn how to have an open mind, but we know that in that open mind, we hear the call, we hear his voice. And in the closed mind, we shut off the communication. We cannot hear. The mind is closed. So this is encouraging. It's like, oh my gosh, I really know that I am moving towards being open-minded, letting go of judgment and opening my mind to the voice for spirit. He goes on in lesson 189 and says, today we do not choose the way in which we go to him, the Holy Spirit, but we do choose to let him come. We choose to open up and let the Holy Spirit come. And with this choice, we rest. And in our quiet hearts and open minds, his love will blaze its pathway of itself. Beautiful, quiet heart and open mind, the love will blaze a pathway of itself. Automatically, an open mind invites the love. The open mind is the channel of love. It's God's channel. It's how he speaks to us. Okay. Again, this one is similar to the review one where he says, he's teaching us you can't have the judgment and the closed mind and the open mind at the same time. You can't have the ego thought and the Holy Spirit's thought at the same time. He says, in this one, it says, Father, my mind is open to your thoughts and closed today to every thought but yours. I rule my mind and offer it to you. I rule my mind and offer it to you. So that's really beautifully saying, we're saying to him, Father, my mind is open to your thoughts. That's what he was saying before. He's like, open your mind to this particular thought and close it off to everything else. Right? This is the same thing. We rule our mind that we have to rule. So we say, my thoughts are closed today to every thought but yours. Beautiful. Very directive. Oh, we're almost done. Lesson 242. And this is all we're basically just talking about God at this point and our connection, our direct line with him. We say to him in this lesson, and so we give today to you, God. We come with holy open minds. We come with holy open minds. Yes. We do not ask for anything that we may think we want. Give us what you would have us be received of. You know all our desires and our wants, and you will give us everything we need in helping us to find the way to you. That's really powerful, right? We're coming with wholly open minds, and we do not ask for anything that we think we may want. This is a very beautiful uh, connection to the Song of Prayer, right? When he's talking about true prayer, it's like you're not coming in asking for what you want. You're coming in wholly open to receive his guidance, his clarity, and his gifts, knowing that it's already for your highest good. He knows our deepest calling, our deepest desire to go home. Beautiful. Open the mind. Come with a wholly open mind into every morning, into every prayer, into every lesson. And then the last thing I want to say about this is that he even talks about the open mind in the last lesson. So the last lesson goes on for 5 days. And in the lesson, he says, "And if I need but stillness and a tranquil, open mind, these are the gifts I will receive of him." And there it is. He's like, I'm going to talk about this open mind because it is your channel, your communication with God through your entire journey through the workbook. I am going to activate your open mind through that journey. So that is why we come together and we really actually open our minds to his guidance. But as I have said around our Modern Miracles community, we are so about application. Like, we love the ideas. They're beautiful. We love the theory. It's foundational. It matters. But without the experience, without the practice, without working this in our own minds, we don't experience the miracles. We don't wake up. That's not the purpose of this course, is to integrate it and that it lives in us, right? That it starts off as a book, but at the end, you don't need the book, right? That love, that light, that guidance, that connection is with us. It's in your mind. It is healing our mind. But what he says, your mind is so untrained that you need structure. You just need structure to begin with. So he gives us so much structure. He gives us 365 days of structure, many of which we have done many times. Many people have done the workbook many times. We're still using on a level that structure to hold our alignment with his thoughts, with God's thoughts. It's training our mind into full alignment, into full remembrance of who we are. And the peace of God is the outcome. The peace of God, that is our desire. So I just want to thank everyone for just your presence and this beautiful place where we come to listen deeply to Spirit. I encourage you to visit the website. It's www.modernmiracles.com. There are courses, there are offerings on there that will help you bring this from theory to application, right? To really work it in your mind and experience the miracles that you are entitled to. We are all entitled to miracles. I love you. I thank you. Bless you.